Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UPNradio.com.
Hey, everybody. Hello. Welcome, everybody, to another really fun edition of What's Up with Kobylt and Friends. What's up with that music? It's blasting in my ear, and then it's not. Thank you, Kurt, for the introduction for the President-elect Donald Trump. I'm going to the inauguration. I've been busy looking for gowns and getting ready and just getting it all together. I'm going on behalf as a journalist. So many of my friends are saying, how could you go? How could you not if you're invited as a journalist to go to the inauguration? It's an incredible honor, I think, to go, whether you like the guy or not. I didn't vote for him. Okay, there you go. I got it out of the way. But I'm pleased and honored to be attending. Having said that.
Is it your first inauguration that you're going to?
It is the first inauguration.
Oh, so
I'm
special.
really, really sorry that I didn't get to go to Obama's, because I know that would have been such a different vibe than what this is going to be. So this will be my first. I want to go to another one in 4 years, and I just want to keep going. So this is the first of many. In studio with me is Carla Renata. Hi, Carla.
Hey, miss.
She's beautiful. I love her, and I've been reading about her, and we have friends of friends. They said, you know what, she'd be a really fun co-host today. We're going to talk to you about your career, your esteemed career. You're best known right now.
Ooh, esteemed.
Well, you are. You're very esteemed. You've been everywhere. You've been a backup singer, but right now you're best known for the NBC hit Superstore. You've also been the only African-American to recur on 4 episodes in one season. I applaud you for that. That's terrific.
Thank you.
And just hang on for the ride. I'm going to have, if you want to, just get on in there. I
All
love
right,
to talk
girl.
politics.
Okay.
I know you're a fun one, so this is great.
I try to be.
Yeah, right now on the phone. John, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I know you're on the 101 freeway on the way to work there, because he's the host of the John and Ken Show on KFI Radio. How are you? Hello.
Good.
Hello. Try not to drive and talk at the same time and not get into an accident. Every time when John's on his way home from work, he's like, I can't talk. I can't do 2 things at once. So the fact that you're, which is true, and this is a true thing. So the fact that you're actually calling and driving into work, try and stay focused. So I want to talk to you today about all the prep that's going on for the inauguration. I'm a little nervous about it. I don't know what we're about to walk into in terms of security. What are you hearing that's going on? I know that it's, every block that we go on, it's going to be hard to even get around.
Well, they've created an outdoor prison around the Capitol and White House and the Capitol Mall. And I saw this when we went to the Republican convention.
Yeah.
They blocked off so many streets around the arena where the convention was held that you did feel like it was in a prison. What they did is they put these huge metal gate-like fencing. It was black. It was about 8 feet high, made of steel, and they linked all this fencing together for miles.
Were you able to climb over it or anything? Oh my gosh. Remember when we were doing where was I? We were at one of the Trump rallies, and I couldn't get to the inside on the other side. And I'm one of these only people, it's true, who ended up getting Secret Service guys bringing me in person. Remember that?
No.
I know. I actually felt very important.
Yeah, I was going to tell you.
Yes.
You can't pull one of those moves.
I didn't pull anything. I just got a little bit lost.
That's not going to work. Begging and pleading.
Let me tell you, rolling with me is a picnic. I mean, you just never know what the hell's going to...
Rolling with the homie Deborah.
Rolling with the homie Deborah, and you never really know what you're going to run into. I always manage to come out on top because, I have good intentions, but shit always manages to happen to me. So you're right.
So, John, were you saying prism or prison?
I just heard the same thing. Prison or prism? Which one?
Prison. Prison.
Be clear, will you please? Okay, so prison. Oh my God. So all right, so there's a virtual prison. Carla's over here cracking up. There's a virtual prison.
Although when you walk down the streets and you have these high metal grating fences all around you, you do feel like you're looking through a prism. It is a strange effect. It's really intimidating.
Right.
And there's a lot of there'll be a lot of cement barriers. and it'll make it impossible to cross the street.
Okay.
I remember in Cleveland we had to walk sometimes a mile out of the way just to get from one destination to another because there was so many closures.
And it's cold as hell in Cleveland, so.
Yeah, I'm grateful that I think the weather is going to hold out. Look, I'm a little concerned because when we're actually witnessing the inauguration and when that whole thing is happening, first of all, I don't know what to wear. I keep asking my friends, what do I wear? One of my closest friends is the White House correspondent for CNN under Obama. He didn't even know what to tell me. So I guess I wear a suit, right?
Well, it's a guy, so what's he going to tell you? What's he going to tell you about a gown?
I know. I need to call like Dana Bash or something. So what I need to do is, what do I wear? Do I wear flats? Do I wear heels? Do I wear boots? Because if we have to run and something happens, I want to be prepared.
You wear some flats and you have some heels in your bag.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yes, girl.
John, does that see?
I'm a New Yorker. What?
Me too. We got to talk.
Okay, I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, John, are you in for this? Poor John. He's like, what the hell? He's like, what the hell?
He's like, what are they talking about?
What are these people talking about? Okay, so we won't be able to cross. It's going to be difficult. So how are we going to navigate around? Like, what do we have to do? Hello.
Well, there's no cars allowed inside, and I think at some points they're going to turn off they're going to shut down the train service.
Oh.
So, there's not going to be any Uber or Lyft. There's not taxis.
No, that's not
There's
happening.
nothing.
How many times
So
did I
there's
tell you
gotta
to
be-
tell your people when we get off the plane, we need a car waiting for us because you just can't call Mr. Uber or Mr. Lyft because they got to get security just to get into that airport. It's going to be one big pain in the ass, I'm telling you right now. So, all right, security is really a big deal.
Yeah, well, they're expecting 700 to 900,000 people to come and watch.
That's it?
And then they have thousands of police
Right.
and security and Secret Service. They're going to have snipers on the roof. The security lines.
Well, they have to have that.
I'm sorry. It's just funny. Okay.
No, but they have to have that, no matter who it is.
I mean, I know it just sounds funny. Snipers. It sounds like a high action adventure Hollywood movie.
Honey, this is a high action adventure movie. I actually cannot wait. I'm going to just take in everything. Do you want to know one of the things I'm looking forward to most? Try and follow me. The hotel lobby. Because you're going to have a bunch of, Trump supporters in the hotel lobby feeling, excited and all important and probably drunk as hell. And I can't really wait to hear what they have to say in the lobby of the hotel, because that's where sometimes you get your best stuff as a reporter.
It's going to be a nightmare.
Right?
It's going to be a nightmare.
I don't look at it that way. I think it'll be so interesting. It'll be hilarious. Think of the stuff I'm going to have to report on. And you and I tend to look at things differently, John. Right?
Drunk Trump supporters is
everything.
never a good thing.
Wait, John, what did you say?
Everything.
Yeah, we do. Politically, also, we look at things differently in most cases. So that's one area that I think should be interesting. Security is going to be a pain in the ass. Getting from the airport to our hotel is going to be difficult. Walking over to watch the inauguration, I got a big one. How about the big inaugural ball that we're attending? And I will be in heels. How am I going to get there if I can't even get a car to take me there?
You're going to get there very slowly.
Okay.
You might have to walk a couple of miles.
In heels?
No, girl, that's what I'm telling you.
In a gown.
Have some flats.
All right,
Look,
fine.
I-
You know what?
I
I'm going
don't
to put
have
my
any.
boots.
I don't have any fashion advice for you.
I'm going to put Uggs under my gown, and then I'm going to walk there. That's what I'm going to do.
I don't have any fashion advice for you.
Believe me, I've been trying to get his tuxedo ready all week. I mean, he's like, "Oh, do you like this shirt or that shirt?" I'm like, I don't know. So security's tight. Should be interesting. What's the one thing you're looking forward
they've
to?
got 60. They've identified at least 63 groups that are going to demonstrate,
Right,
pro and con.
right. But they're going to hold them back. I'm told that those people are going to be held at bay. But somebody's going to get through. Some straggler who's going to pretend to look like a Trumper. They're going to get through.
They predicted doom in Cleveland, and nothing happened.
Yeah, but this is
they
the
had-
inauguration.
they-
This is different.
Right.
Now he's in.
Right. That was Cleveland. This is the inauguration
Right.
of the 45th president of the United States. Somebody's going to act out. How many times did somebody infiltrate a state dinner when Obama was in office? It happened twice. There's always the possibility that it'll happen. There's always that one person that kind of gets through.
I want something like what happened in Borat, where somebody just goes barreling through the room naked. Remember that fat guy in Borat?
I think we interviewed him here.
Really? Oh, we got to get him on. Hey, I want to get that guy on. The chubby one who went through
I
the room
think
at
we-
some convention.
I think
Would
we
that not
interviewed
be
him here.
hilarious to have some big fat tubby streaker just going through?
I'm really not trying to have that as my reality.
Yeah, but
sorry,
anyway,
boo.
John, what else?
That's a strange fantasy to have.
Well, I wouldn't call it a fantasy, but it would be hilarious, I guess, to just put a little humor in the whole thing. So what are you looking forward to the most? The inauguration, the ball? Actually, you're doing your show from there.
I enjoy human circuses, and they got 63 demonstration groups. They've identified they're going to come, and some of them are going to be agitators, and they want to disrupt everything. Others are just going to be shouting. Now, in Cleveland, what they did is they created a zone where you could protest, but they put it about a mile away from the
Well, that's what
arena.
they're doing here. These protesters are so
Right.
far out, you're only going to hear them echoing. That's it. I
So
mean, really, they're not going to get through.
There was a story going around. There's this guy named James O'Keefe, and he's a right-wing investor. He's undercover videos. And
Yeah. Tell Tony I'm losing him.
claiming they traded one of these left-wing groups.
Right?
They were talking about getting butyric acid, which creates a stink bomb,
Mm-hmm.
and having that go through the vents of the National Press Club,
Ooh.
where they're going to have a ball on Thursday night for the alt-right, the far-right wing.
Ugh.
They were going to have their own ball. They called it the deplorable. And so these left-wing agitators wanted to infiltrate the alt-right guys.
With a stink bomb?
And
It's kind of
went
funny,
in-
really.
They went into this, on
Right?
video, you could see they went into quite a detailed explanation of what they're going to do. And then he publicized the video, and the left-wing guy said, well, we were just kidding. We knew we were being videotaped, so we were playing it up.
Okay.
So
Well, as long as I'm at the other ball, I don't really care what they do to the stink bomb ball. You know what I mean? So
we're
stink bomb ball.
it's
The stink bomb ball. So they can do that to the stink bomb ball, but as long as we're over at the National Press Ball, that's cool by me. And I know we're going to the inaugural ball, right? Where apparently the president is going to be on Friday. So that should be interesting. That's where I have I bought the coolest dress.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful. It's elegant.
Well,
Not that conservative really, and I tried to go conservative, but it's a knockout. I can't wait to wear this thing with my Uggs to get there. So-
Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
All right, are you excited? I mean, I'm all pumped. I can't wait.
that's going to have the highest security. It's also the biggest target.
Like I said, I got my Uggs. We can run. And look, I hope everyone's
Yeah,
safe.
yeah.
While I didn't support this president, to get serious here, I am urging everyone to please support the process, support and just see what will happen, right? Let's just give it a shot, give it a chance, regardless of what he said.
yeah.
You're pissed off that he doesn't like women and whoever else, which I don't really think is the case. Let's at least give this guy a shot and see where it goes. No need for stink bombs or anything else. In all seriousness,
Well, a lot of
let's
these
just all be
guys
safe.
they're
with me?
professional disruptors, and
Mm-mm.
it's not even Trump. It's they show up at places to create chaos because it's sport for them. They really
Right.
enjoy it.
Right.
So if it's not one reason, it's another reason.
Okay, I have another caller coming in. So what else do you want to end on this with? I wanted basically to talk about security and sort of set the scene of what we're about to go into. What do you think?
I think it's going to be, it's probably going to be for us frustrating. We'll just have to go along with the lines. I think to get in the balls, the lines are going to be very long because the Secret Service is going to do a lot of searching.
I don't wait in lines. We'll figure this out.
Yeah,
Don't
so
you worry.
it's just about patience. It's realizing you can't get there quickly. So everybody's got to leave early. Everybody's got to be patient. Everybody got to deal with
Patient.
unplanned disruptions. It's this
Look-
kind of climate has never been seen at an inauguration before, and we're living in a time that we've never had before in terms of the threat of terrorism and just people in general being upset. So it's created a human dynamic. You got 1 million people coming into a very small area with an unusual amount of tension and emotion.
Well, that's the
and,
difference.
Agendas.
This particular inauguration, there's an incredible amount of tension. I think a lot of people are upset. They're
But didn't
angry.
that happen with Nixon and Reagan too?
I don't know. Is that the case, John? You would know better than I would. I don't know.
Well,
I don't think so. Not
yeah,
like this guy.
People were afraid. People were afraid of Reagan,
Yeah, I mean, I seem to
Nixon,
recall
not
that.
so much. They just grew to dislike Nixon intensely because of what he did. Reagan, they were fearful, but Reagan had a lot of old Hollywood glamour, which tempered.
It's kind of tempered it,
the-
right?
So
He was
it's-
from Hollywood. If you're from
Okay.
Hollywood, you can.
Yeah, because I seem to remember with him there was a little controversy too when he was.
There was.
We know his
because
son is
he was
really
much
a
more
terrific
conservative
guy.
than the prevailing government had been. But back then, Frank Sinatra, I think, was the chairman of the Inaugural Entertainment Committee.
Yes, he
and so he
was.
got all the old time stars who were still around back
Yes,
in
he did.
1981. Yeah. So,
They should
so
have
it was
reached
a very,
out this round to Frank Sinatra Jr. is what they should have done and seen if maybe he would have done something.
well,
they
no,
couldn't
he
get anybody
died
to
a few months
perform.
ago.
He died,
did?
baby.
I did not know that. Oh, John, I didn't know
Yeah.
he passed away.
Yes.
Sorry, you can
A
cut
few
that.
mon- a few
Please,
months ago.
cut that from
Yeah.
my podcast, would you please? Like before this thing gets out of there. I didn't know that. I really did not
Yeah,
know.
he passed
I'm
away a
sorry.
couple
He's
months
gonna
ago.
he's gonna be tough
That's
to
okay.
reach.
Yeah, no, but that's okay. I honest to God, I didn't know so many people passed last year. I didn't
Yeah,
realize
it was
he was
a
on
lot.
the
Yeah,
list too.
Yeah,
it
he
didn't get
was.
much attention.
Yeah,
didn't.
poor guy. He didn't get much attention. All right, look, we're going to end on that. And thanks for coming and calling in. I really appreciate it. Anything else you want to add? You got 5 seconds. Go.
No, just say goodbye. See you later.
All right, see you later. I'll see you at home. We got to get packed and get out of here. And that's John Kobylt from the very, very popular, #1 rated, the John and Ken Show on KFI Radio. Thanks. I'll see you later on tonight.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
Bye.
We will have a lot to talk about after my next guest.
Do your
right?
thing, girl.
Yeah.
This is
You're
your
having
show.
Are you having a good time?
I'm just sitting here like a fly on the wall. Do your thing.
No, don't. I kind of need your opinion because you.
Oh,
I could-
trust me. If I
get
have
in.
one, I'll say something.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. But we actually have our next guest is already on the phone, isn't she? We'd love to hear from you. First of all, hello, thank you for waiting. How are you?
I am doing great, thank you.
Oh, I have a lot to talk to you about. Would you just do one thing for me so that I get your name right? Would you pronounce your name first and last, which is beautiful, but I want to make sure I get it right.
It's Nadjejda Chapoteau.
Oh, that's beautiful. Nadjejda
Chapoteau.
Chapoteau. Nadjejda.
Chapoteau, yes.
Where are you from, Nadjejda?
I'm originally from Haiti.
Okay.
Also, my first name is a Russian name. My parents got it from a French song, but their last name is a French name. I'm originally from Haiti.
Beautiful.
Haitian American.
Beautiful, beautiful name. Now you're a very, very successful coach, and by coach I mean you are a certified empowerment coach. Tell me what that is exactly, and I'd like to know because how do you empower people? Do you primarily work with men? Do you work with women? I'd like to know about that.
Yes, so as an empowerment coach, and I also call myself an authenticity coach, I empower women. I work mostly with women. Not that I wouldn't work with men, but women are the women. They're the ones that I primarily work with, and primarily women coaches and creatives who are purpose-driven. So basically what I do is as a coach, I empower them in finding their voice and really embracing who they are so that their message can be aligned with them so they can show up in the world as their true selves and also find their niche. So I pretty much help them do that deep inner work that is required for them to really know who they are, what are they about, what matters to them, what do they stand for.
This is a great
so
point.
that they can really shine their light on the world.
This
Yes,
is a
you were
great
saying something?
point. Yes, I think this is a terrific point because very often we come into the world or we're taught that we perhaps need to be a certain way or behave a certain way. And perhaps it just goes against the grain of how we were born. God knows it was my case. But in case you can't tell, right? And I have a feeling yours too. Am I right? No?
No, I always embraced who I was, much to other people's dismay.
Oh, I grew up in an Italian family, a large one, including the relatives. And they were always saying, Deborah, stop. Deborah, you're not behaving. Deborah, Deborah, Deborah. And I'm thinking, well, I can't help it. This is just me. So I should have been more authentic to myself when I was 3 and 4 and 5, right? Instead of always having to listen. Is this what you tell people? Just find your inner voice from your inner child? And
Definitely. And it's so
You know what I mean?
it's so interesting how you bring up, when you were 3 and 4 years old, because I actually shared a video recently with my email and I posted it on my blog on the blog section in my website, how I was reflecting on how I really became more of myself, which I call my true self. is I saw who was I when I was a child.
I do think it's a lot of
And,
inner
there
child
were
stuff.
times that I was told, don't do this, don't do that.
You know, this is very indicative of what I teach. I teach branding and social media to high school and college students.
You do?
I do.
I could use you.
Oh, yes, you totally could.
I mean it.
But what I teach, like you, I teach people how to embrace what's unique about them, how to embrace what is already there instead of trying to drown that or dumb it down or disappear. You know, there are some people that, like, I was very nerdy growing up. I was very techie, all of that kind of thing, and it was something that I was ashamed of because I thought if people recognized how smart I was, they wouldn't want to be friends with me. So I kind of dumbed it down and didn't
sorry.
embrace it. It's all good, girl, because now I make a whole lot of money doing it, so it's all
This
good.
is what I mean. Yeah, I could tell.
But you know what I mean. So I totally and wholeheartedly agree with and in simpatico with what you're doing with your empowering.
You know, because
Yeah.
but so often it goes against the grain of what you're taught you're supposed to do. In some cultures anyway, at least the way I grew up. It was like,
Yeah.
be quiet. You're talking
Oh,
too
yeah,
much. You're this or that. It's like, ugh. But so what ended up happening was I became a journalist because I was very curious all the time. And my mom would say, first word you ever said was why. And it's like, yeah, no kidding.
That's
because
hilarious.
I wanted to know stuff. And it was like, be quiet. But that inner voice didn't want to be quiet. So eventually that person found who she was supposed to be, right? So is that sort of what you're talking about being authentic and empowering
Yes,
yourself?
that is
Yeah.
totally- yes, and the thing is that one of the things, like, that's one of the things that, I coach my clients on, because I know it's been my experience, is that their dream clients are looking for somebody who's authentic. They're looking for that person who is doing something that they're like, oh my God, being their true self. Like, I know for myself, I love to dance. And I have to say, I grew up loving to dance. I even taught Zumba for a few years. But when I was teaching, I would never share videos of me dancing. Because in some way, I was like, well, I don't know. And it wasn't
I do the
until
same
probably
thing.
like about 2 years ago that I actually started posting videos of me on social media dancing. And guess what? I got, my first paying client was I went to go do a Zumba gig because at the time I was teaching for Gold Gym. I went to do a Zumba gig. I lived in D.C. at Capitol Hill, and that's how I got my first coaching paying client. Is
See?
doing a Zumba gig and as a coach, so the person didn't even know me. And I've had people, follow me on Instagram, get on my email list, join my Facebook group, and they become my client just by seeing my energy. Because when you show up with your passion, when you show up as your true
People
self,
feel it.
people are
People
looking,
feel
they can
it.
feel it. But also, most people, like I said, I think most, if not all of us, are really looking to be seen and heard as our true self.
Yeah, you
The
got to
thing is
show
that
up.
Many of us have the courage to do it.
I think
we
that's
choose
the
to be
hardest.
courageous enough and do it.
Yeah, you got to show up and show out and just be you.
I have done that.
Yes.
And I still do that. Very often I'll do work and I just kind of keep it to myself because I think, ooh, maybe it's not good enough or nobody wants to see it. So to this day, I won't write about it, post about it, tell people about it because I think, well, what if it's not good enough? That's crazy, right? We ought to just get
You
out
shouldn't
there.
care.
Right. I'm
you shouldn't-
learning.
Girl, you
little-
should know as a journalist, you don't censor yourself like that.
Huh? But even I do it, right? And really, even I'll do it. So I'm saying if I'll do it, imagine other women who have not been empowered in any way or didn't find their inner voice. They're hiding. So I can imagine someone like you really helps bring it out. So then what do? Somebody comes to you and they don't know what to do. What's the first step?
First step is really have them reconnect with what do they really enjoy? What is it that they really love doing as a child, that they really enjoy doing? And at times it could be something that they were told that they were crazy to do or to stop doing because it was inappropriate.
All the time.
Because I know for me, when I started showing my videos of me dancing, some people were like, "Oh, is everything okay with her? Is she crazy or something?" So sometimes it could be that thing that they told you that's not appropriate. So really, and then really getting to, okay, what is it? What is that thing for you that you really want to do, but that you're really afraid of what society and your family, sometimes it's even people who are close to you, who may not approve of it.
Very often that's the case, wouldn't you say? I think
Very
that's where a
often,
lot
you
of
know.
the fear comes from, the people that you know and you're closest to.
Yeah, and I also think that sometimes it's culturally based. You know, different cultures embrace different
I
Definitely.
think
things.
you're right.
Yes.
I think you're
You
right
know?
about that. I do. I remember.
Oh, yeah.
I was a little kid and I used to love to dance, and people would actually come to the house and I'd start dancing. A little thing. And I guess they'd get a kick out of it because I'm just this little guy. And then I grew a little bit older. I mean, just a little bit, like kindergarten, first grade, second grade. And, they'd go around the room. What do you want to be? What do you want to be? Teacher, fireman, policeman. I'd say, I want to be in the movies. So, but my mom would hear that and she'd go home and say, you can't do that. Bad people are in them. I mean, so to the point where I'd say, okay, I guess I can't take an acting class and I can't do it because they just said you can't do it. I don't know. Maybe they didn't want me
Bless
to
your
move.
mom's heart. Somebody must have said that to
They
her.
didn't know
so
any
she
better.
Thought
They
she
were
was doing the right thing.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of people who are doing stuff like that to some little kid out there. And now that little kid wants to come out and say, I can do this. So empowering that person is hard because they're afraid. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of fear.
Oh, yes.
Especially
That's
with
the
women,
thing.
right? We don't want to be put
Definitely.
down by other women or men or anything. So,
Yeah, definitely.
I
Because
think.
there's somebody, I don't know which one of you said something, and it made me think about how and it's a work in progress. That's another thing. That's why when you mentioned, I forgot if she was telling you that as a reporter, you're still censoring yourself. We're all a work in progress. Because even for me, there are times where I'm like, oh, am I going to post this? Am I going to say that? And I'm like, oh, I'm still doing it. And then but I'm aware of it. Because there was a time I wasn't even aware of it, And as a former Zumba instructor, I found myself when I stopped teaching, I would go to a Zumba class and I wanted to be in the back of the class. I would not really show my moves because I kept thinking I needed to dim my light in order for the professor, for the instructor to not feel uncomfortable around me or for people to
I
notice
get that.
me.
Do you get that?
I've
You
been
know?
in situations quite often
I
where
really
I felt like I
get
needed to
that.
dim my light. Yes.
I'm always dimming my light. My light's a lot brighter actually than you could imagine. No, but I really get it because I do the same thing, and I'm telling you, I have to force myself. I have a friend, and he's always saying to me, well, if you really did this, then let me see it, or I want to, and I'm like, no, because same thing. I never think it's quite good enough. So again, someone comes to you, they need that counseling. How do you get them out of that? What's the first, second, and third thing you do? Do you have them just sort of face their fear?
Face them fear, but this is the reason. This is another thing, and that's very key, is their reasons why. Why do they want to do this? For example, because I work with women coaches, why did they become a coach? Why are they looking to serve those people they're called to serve, that they want to transform their client's life? What's their big why? Which is why for me, it's very much about purpose. You have to have a purpose. You have to have because this is the thing, is I know it's been my experience, and that's what I've also noticed with other people, is that if your why is not big enough, you're not going to do it. Mm-hmm. You have to get to a place where your why is bigger than your fear.
But basically,
which is your purpose.
So basically,
one of my go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So basically, you would tell somebody, at least I would, I guess, right? Go face that fear. You're afraid to dance? Go take that Zumba dance. Oh my goodness,
Zumba class.
Thank you. Go take that Zumba class. Get out from the back of the room and at least try and get into the middle. Something like that to sort of face that fear, right?
Mm-hmm. So, or for example, I've had people. How now everything is video. It's video, because that's another thing. Sometimes we're doing things that are not aligned with us. If video is not your thing is writing, why don't you start writing some posts, like, for example, on Facebook, or write some tweets, write a blog post, or is video really your thing, but you're afraid? So why don't you start small? Why don't you start doing them, maybe once a week? Or, so really start taking baby steps, because the thing is that if you're pushing somebody to do something, like go full out when they're not ready, it's not going to work.
Yeah,
because they start procrastinating.
The baby steps.
They start procrastinating, right?
But there's more.
What is it?
They start procrastinating, right? When they get
To stop
when they get
procrastinating.
so
Stop
stuck in their
it.
fear, they they
Yes.
start procrastinating and they go, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week, oh, I'll do it next month, and then a whole year goes by.
Or they're afraid. I'm telling you, I know people
yeah.
who
No,
don't.
but the fear is what paralyzes them and stops them from moving forward.
Right, but I know people who won't post stuff
Definitely.
because they're afraid nobody will like it. So in the first place, and I've even done that. I'm like, oh my God, you'll put it up there and you're like,
I am so not that chick.
no, I'm not anymore. But I remember, somebody would put something up. My girlfriend, she doesn't do much video, right? She'll just write stuff and she'll say, Deborah, was it just like not interesting? Because nobody seems to even care about it. I don't know if they're reading it, liking it. So I get it. She was so paranoid. And I said, I don't know, throw a picture on with it. She did. And all of a sudden she got more likes. So in other words, that whole
You
thing
have
was
to
giving
keep
her
going.
anxiety.
Yeah, there's a whole strategic thing to the whole posting
Oh, yeah.
thing online. Like you
Yes,
got to do it at a certain
definitely.
time and and it's different for every social media platform. Like it's a whole thing.
It's
And you know
it's
what?
too much.
One thing I want to add to that as well is this is the thing, especially in the society we live in now. We have like the Facebook likes and all of that. So people tend to be very focused on that. There are people who look at your stuff who are actually learning from it, who
That's
are being
right.
empowered and inspired by it, but they don't like it.
Yeah, that's right.
I've
There
had
you go.
people- Like I remember when I first started, I would have people tell me, "Oh, I really love what you post. I really, you're really inspiring. You really." Somebody was like, "I've had her. She's not a client once on Facebook. She was like, I've made so many changes on, based on your stuff. I didn't even realize it, and some of them never even liked or commented on my stuff."
I second that
thing is
emotion.
that-
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens to me
So the
too.
thing is that, yeah. So the thing is that we really have to stop in some way focusing on the likes in the comments, because then it becomes, do you like what you post? Do you find there's value in what you post? Because if you find a value on it, trust me, there's somebody, whether they liked it or not, who finds value in it. And I think we kind of like need to stay away. And I think that's one of the things. Social media is great, but at the same time too, many of us were in social media because we're looking for that validation, and we need to validate ourselves
So
before.
so would you say, so your steps are, first you define what the fear is that you have, and then secondly you find a way to attack and aggressively deal with that fear, and then what would you say is the last thing you teach in your empowering?
So I would say, well, there's just
Get
so
to the
many
front of the
steps.
line.
So I would say, so really, it's, well, can you repeat that again?
No, I was just joking with her. Go ahead.
No,
She's
she was
saying-
playing with me.
She's saying, what how do you keep going? Like if you're first facing your fears.
The way, okay, well, yeah, one of the things, and I was going to say, that's one of the things, that's why for me, I really recommend that people work with a coach like me or
Yeah.
someone for an extended period of time, 3 to 6 months at least, because your coach is your accountability partner.
I like that.
When I know from myself. That's how I started. I was working at the American Red Cross. I was very unhappy, unfulfilled, and I started working with a career coach. And through working with her, I got very clear on that I didn't want to work for anybody anymore. I wanted to do something to make a difference. I wanted to feel empowered. And guess what? I got out of where I was and I started my business. Had I not worked with her, I would not have gotten
You would
there.
not be here now.
Same thing.
So just
I would not be here where I am today. And same thing when I work with people and whether they get out of the relationship or I've had people gotten very clear on who they're meant to work with, which is their niche. Or when you speak, when you get on live, when you get on video, when you start sharing your story on social media. The thing is that if you're not working with an accountability partner in the form of a coach, somebody who's holding you accountable, most of us, we tend to not do it.
right, because nobody's
that's
looking.
another
It's
thing
like cheating with that cookie,
It's like
Yes,
an exam.
and what happens is, now if it doesn't get done, like let's say, okay, you're going to do a video this week, and it doesn't happen, well, the next time you're going to call with me, let's talk about it. And usually it's a fear. And sometimes it's a fear that we need to dismantle. It's that thing that, it could be something that was said to us, because I know a lot of us are like, who do you think you are? I know that's one of mine. And now I know it, so I know to not listen to it, because I was told before, who do you think you are? So when and the thing is that, in some way we're promoting ourselves. So in order to show up for those you're meant to serve, you have to put yourself out there. You're promoting yourself.
So somebody,
and you're going to have that ego, whatever that voice saying, who do you think you are, or what are people going to think about you, whatever. So when you have an accountability partner that holds you accountable and that works through those fears with you, that's how change happens. That's how transformation, and that's how you keep showing up, is because you have somebody who's holding your agenda, who's supporting you, and who's also celebrating you in your journey to making that change.
I love how passionate you are about this. Now, if somebody wants to contact you, and you do obviously Skype and you work with people that way, how can they get in touch with you?
Would it be over the world. Yes.
Would it be your
They
web?
can contact me.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
What is your website? How can they find you?
Yes, they can visit me. They can contact me, and actually you could join my email list, because every week I send inspiration. I share myself and tips with them, which is my website, which is www.lovelightcoaching.com.
Love
Light.
LIGHT.
Coaching.com.
Lovelightcoaching.com. Now, are you also on Instagram? I love to follow on Instagram. You know, those little sayings that pop up.
As Love Light Coaching. I am on Instagram.
Okay.
I'm also on Twitter as Love Light Coach, and I'm also on Facebook as Love Light Coaching.
Okay, wonderful. It was wonderful, wonderful to talk to you. And I'm actually going to look you up, and I'm going to, follow you and do all that. So I hope you'll do the same to me. So thank you so much for being on.
Do the same
I
to
found you very
and
inspiring.
thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much. Anyway, have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
She's terrific. Yeah, she's right.
Yeah, I teach that with my branding. I do.
Do you really? So tell me a
do.
little more, other than being this great, phenomenal actress that I've been following for some time. So
I had no idea.
Yeah, no, I have been. So I'm really thrilled to have you here.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
It's tough when you're in the acting business, because that's not all you do, and you have to throw a
No.
lot of balls up in the air
Yes.
and see what comes back.
Spinning
right?
a lot of plates.
I think it's really, really tough and very, very difficult. I think in this time that we're in, so many people are trying to brand themselves, as you were saying, and trying to get into business for themselves. It's just difficult, right?
It's very difficult.
You said you teach
Yeah,
that?
I have a background. When I was trying to make it as you were in New York on Broadway, I was a publicist. So one of the things I learned as a publicist was to find out what was unique about these people that I was publicizing in order to get them a feature story in electronic or press media. So I just basically took that and started a company called The Branding Buddha, and I teach junior and high school seniors and junior and
I love that name.
Thank you. Junior and senior level university students. And I teach them how to embrace what's unique about them. And I speak specifically to the students that are in the arts. Because the problem is, if you don't know who you are really young like that, and you can't figure it out, or you don't, have at least some idea of what lane you're going to be in, you're going to end up spinning your wheels for a very long time unnecessarily.
That is so true. And to tell somebody that, they might not even know what you're talking about. They'll go
Exactly.
like, what does that mean?
Exactly. So
years go by, and you've been spinning your wheels. You're like, well, am I an actor? Well, am I going to do this? And you don't know what you're doing.
Yes.
That is so important.
So
but
we
it
do
also leads back to what she was talking
Yes.
about. Knowing who you are, knowing your
Yes.
passion, which is what
you have
do.
you have to know what is uniquely you in order to make yourself work within the confines of show business.
I just have to say one thing. Sometimes what's uniquely you is helping other people find what's
This is true.
They may not be the one up front. They might be the ones
Exactly.
supporting.
Exactly.
I have a very, very close friend, and she's always saying, Deborah, I still don't know what I want to do. I'm like, look, after all these years I've known you, do you know what you are? You're holding everybody else up.
Right.
So frankly, without you, everyone else is just going to fall
Right.
down. So not everyone is at the front, as they would
Exactly.
say.
And that's what I tell the
And
students.
that's somebody else's gift. you know?
Exactly. That's what I tell the students. Not everybody's meant to be in front of a camera. Not
Yeah.
everybody's meant, to be a voiceover artist or a dancer with a company. Some people are meant to be choreographers. Some people are meant to be producers. Some people are meant to be writers. You have to find out what your lane is. And the only way you can do that is to figure out who you are. And it was like the young lady was saying that we just spoke to. A lot of times that stuff goes back to your childhood. It goes back to who you emulated as a child. It goes back to who you were closest to as a child, because unconsciously we emulate and imitate the people that we love or that we admire, and we take on those personality traits.
That did not happen to me because I was surrounded by lots of Italian people who cooked day and night. Come to my kitchen and you see how well I cook. I mean, this
You
is
can't
not,
cook?
No, I am the one Italian where
girl.
it just went right over me. So I will try, but if I could, we will do a show one day on all the mishaps that I have had in a kitchen. Everything from putting like meatballs in a boiling pot of water with the still in the bag, or putting pizza in the oven to heat it up in the box. I mean,
oh girl, no.
You know, blowing up a kitchen in a microwave, chicken in a microwave. I mean, it just passed right over me.
Deborah,
I'm telling you, I've had friends buying me, the little timers so that I could time myself and go check, and it'll just go off, and I'll go, oh, and I'll just keep doing what I'm doing.
bless your heart. I have to teach you how to cook too.
It won't
Bless.
happen. But point being, I didn't emulate. I tried to emulate, and look what happened.
I can teach you how to make a fierce Italian dish that I learned on the Chew, actually.
Really?
Yes.
I will take you on. Okay, I will take
It's
you on,
fierce,
and I really mean
and
it.
people,
Really?
yes, and people scarf it down every time I make it.
Can I just say I made it though? That's the thing.
Yeah,
Like,
you can make it.
You know, can I just say, oh, look what Mom made today? They'd be like, yeah, right. What's her name? Carla.
I promise you, it's the bomb.
Okay, so again, you've worn many hats, but
Yes.
it seems to me like someone must have guided you as a young person.
There were
to
many
be
people
aware enough to,
Yeah.
to do this.
There were many people that guided me, but the most important person that guided me was my mother.
That's very nice. So she really believed in you, and she said, Carla, you can do this or do anything.
My mother grew up during the Depression. So my mother was hell-bent and intent on making sure that her kids had better than she had.
Yeah, my mom too.
You know, and that our opportunities were much more vast than hers. So I grew up as a child of the civil rights era. So everything was out there for me to grab if I wanted it.
Your
and my
voice.
mother encouraged it.
You see, my parents were very much like, the Catholic school thing, like, shh, quiet.
I grew up Catholic.
Catholic school, though?
Yeah, I went to Catholic
Did
school.
you really? Oh, my gosh. The nun came down the aisle.
They
and
were
it's like,
terrifying. I couldn't stand going there. I didn't go there for long.
I was scared to death. So
I didn't go there
went
for long.
most of my life, and I was frightened. Look, the good people. Okay, I'm not putting down anyone.
No,
'cause I
they're
really don't-
lovely, but
I
they're
don't
very
like to do that,
strict.
but they were strict.
They're very strict.
And believe me, I think that's sort of where the humor in my head formed, because I would look at half this shit and I go, are they kidding me? So, and I tried to be a good girl, but that was so hard. I was just holding on for holding on for dear life, knowing that just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I
But
bounced up out of there real quick.
did you really?
Yeah, I couldn't. I'm like, I can't take it. My mother wanted me to go to an all-girls Catholic school, and I was like, you know what? I can't. So, in St. Louis, you had to take an entrance exam to get in. Like, you
What, did
couldn't
you
just
fail it on purpose or
Oh,
something?
yeah, I certainly did.
See,
and
I went 1 year, all girls.
I was like, I'm not trying to be in a school with all girls. No.
Hell no. I said, first of all, I didn't want to be around all girls. The boys were much nicer, to go to school with, frankly. And,
Girls were mean to me. I didn't want to be in a school full of girls.
Right, especially at a Catholic school. Maybe it's different today. Okay, I'm just going to speak
No,
from
it's not.
my own
No,
experience.
It's not different.
All right, so Mom was in your head, and she really empowered you that you could do whatever you want. You grew up during the civil rights era. You really felt like, hey, this is a good time for me. I have a voice. I'm joining this. How do you feel about what's going on now politically? Where do you align yourself? You look like you'd be a real Trump supporter.
Not.
No, joking.
No. I am very disturbed by what is happening now with the new administration coming in. I feel like this is the thing the one thing that's extremely disturbing to me about all of it, just to lump it in a nutshell, is that politicians seem to forget that the American people are the ones that put them in office. We elect them there. Therefore, they work for us. They don't work for their own interests. They don't work for their own lanes. They work for us. Therefore, their job should be and is defined as someone who works for the American people and their interests, right? That is not what is happening. That doesn't look like what it's about to be, and that, for me, is extremely disturbing.
I like to say, and you heard me say it earlier on in the show, I'm going to stand back and just see what he'll do. I don't think he can't take away anyone's rights, whether it's gay, women. He just can't.
Well, we've already seen the beginnings of what lies ahead. I mean, he wasn't elected good when they tried to get rid of the ethics committee. Now they're trying to reverse Obamacare. They don't care that 20 to 30 million people are not going to have health care and that some people actually will leave this earth as a result of it. That's ridiculous.
But I'm not sure that's the case because I read up a little on that because I thought, all right, nobody could do that. And apparently they want to change it so that, now I don't know, I have to read the small print, the details, change it so that those people that have been affected and are not getting the right care actually will get the right care. So that's why I'm always careful what I read. I don't read stuff on the right or the left. I try and read everything and then go right down the middle.
I've read some stuff. So let me tell you, if they get rid of Obamacare, it's going to ultimately affect Medicare, Medicaid.
Right.
It's going to affect anyone who has a pre-existing condition.
Pre-existing is an issue. There's no doubt about it.
Anybody that has a pre-existing condition, that's going to be a problem. Anybody who, for whatever reason, can't afford health care the way that they've set it up in America now, those people are going to be walking around like they were before Obamacare, uninsured. And then that's going to be a problem when something happens with them. It's just not a good idea.
We have to look at what he's doing and proposing and then speak about it.
But that's the other thing. You don't get rid of something before you have something to take its place. You leave it in place until you have something to replace it. You just don't go, well, I said I'm going to do this and this is what I'm going to do. No, you replace it with something that is good for the American people, not for your own interests.
I think that's what he's going to do because I don't think he's somebody who wants to take stuff away from people.
Yeah, this is the thing. What he's going to do. They've already voted to get rid of Obamacare. And Trump hasn't even been inaugurated yet. That's disgusting. A. B is that's what I'm saying. People are operating based on their interests, based on the fact that they despise President Obama for whatever reason. My personal opinion about it is that they despise him just because he's a black man with power in America. Yeah, I said it. I don't really care if anybody hates what I said. But that annoys me because we're supposed to be living in a society where it shouldn't matter what your creed or your color or your race is. It should matter what you are doing for the American people in a position of power in politics in this country. And somehow, somewhere along the line, that has become horribly askewed. And that is disturbing to me.
I don't disagree, but
yes,
that's why I want to step back and see what he's going to do. I just want to wait because you know why? Because he's the guy. He's in as of Friday.
I know he's there whether I like it or not.
Right. That's what I keep telling people because I'm telling you, I could barely even post that I'm going to this thing because my friends are going to beat me. But I'm honored. I
don't think they're going to beat you, but they will be giving you the side eye.
I'm honored to be going though because, like I said, it's a piece of history I want to witness, and I'm going to watch very carefully what he's going to do because people are concerned, afraid, whatever. Then I'm just going to watch and hold him accountable to what he's doing because. Has there been a lot of hysterics? Will he do this? I don't know. So that's why I say let's wait and see what he's doing and give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt just because we have no choice. The guy's in.
This is the thing. I have, what's the best way for me to say this? I have been in his company on and off over the years because a friend of mine was married to him. This is what I do know.
All right, it's got to be Marla. Come on.
Yeah.
It can't be Ivana. You just don't look like you and Ivana
were
buddies.
I could have been buddies with her.
I knew them both as well. Because I
but you know what I'm saying?
But I really did. I was down in Atlantic City when he was down there. Going through all his bankruptcy stuff.
Yeah, so this is the thing.
Oh, boy, you must have stories.
Yeah. He does a lot of talking and hardly anything that comes out of his mouth is backed up by any real fact.
Oh, there's no doubt.
3/4 of the time. So that is how he operated as a private citizen. It petrifies me that this is the same person people have elected to the office as president of the United States.
Donald Trump is not a big reader. He is not someone
he's the most uneducated person I've ever seen become president. If he uses the words so and very one more time, I'm going to snatch his tongue out of his mouth.
I can't imagine. Again, I'm going to assume that you're talking about Marla. Talk about two different people. I mean, she's very much into healing and energy.
She's very sweet.
She really is, I have to say. And I guess maybe she thought she could transform this guy. Not possible.
No, she was in love with him. He treated her well.
Yeah.
and she was in love with him. But
And
you know,
it happens,
when the love fairy dust disappears, then you get to see who somebody really is. And once she saw who he really was, she bounced up out of that.
But imagine.
So did the first one.
Imagine how she really got the deal, though. The first one, she worked so hard
Because she's a smart cookie.
Oh yeah, but she worked so hard day and night down in Atlantic City, which is where he kept her. While he was gallivanting about with Marla, which wasn't so great. But the first marriage is falling apart, and I mean, come on. I mean, there's there's books been written about this stuff,
Yes,
and most of us know what happened. We don't know the inside details, but we got to see it. So, all right. So let's get a little bit more to you before we have to leave, though.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're-
Oh, right.
I mean, you're doing so great on Superstore. You've done theater in New York. You've done television. You've done film. You've done so much in your life. You teach. What are you most proud of?
Ooh, that's a good question. What am I most proud of? I'm basically most proud of the fact that I have been able to spin so many plates and do so many things. A lot of my peers and constituents, they usually have one lane that they're in and they don't know how to do anything else. For me, it's the one thing that I'm proud of, but it's also a blessing and a curse.
It is, because you're sort of always going from one lane to the next. The
But it
slow
stops me
lane
from
to
being bored. I don't get bored.
I get that.
I don't
But is
get
there
bored.
something you enjoy the most, perhaps? Like when you walk onto a film set, you say, oh, I'm
I
home.
enjoy
or
it
teaching
in general, whether I'm teaching, whether I'm on Broadway, whether I'm on television, I really enjoy making people laugh. That's the one thing I really enjoy. I love comedy.
But you have a joyful spirit. The minute I walked in here, and I barely walked, right? I ran in here. I whizzed by. Your hair was blowing up when I came in, right? Because I do that every week. I just fly in here and whiz in. But you have such a joyful spirit. So maybe
you.
that's why you're able to sort of, as you like to say, change lanes, because you're able to. People will open up. They'll let you right into the lane, right? Because they want to.
Yeah, I love the entertainment industry. I do, for all of its ups and downs and quirks and whatever else that comes along with it. I really do love it. I love it very much.
Do you do any theater out here in Los Angeles?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
Of course. That's why I did. Please tell
Hey,
us.
girl, hey. So I am starting February 26th. I will be in a play at the Kirk Douglas Theatre called Good Grief.
I will be going. I will. No, you're inviting me, is what I'm saying.
Oh.
I will be. No, because I want to see it. I want to
Yes.
maybe go opening night or whatever. I love the Kirk
Oh,
Douglas.
please.
First of all, for those of you who don't know, the Kirk Douglas Theater down in Culver City.
Yes, it's
one
in
of my
Culver City.
favorites. What a great place, that whole area.
Yes.
Oh, tell me what you're playing. That's exciting.
So it's a Good Grief is a play written by a young African American playwright named Nkosi, and she got a fellowship through the Center Theater Group, and they're producing this play for her at the Kirk Douglas Theater. But the play is about how different people process grief, and I am a mother whose son is not a God-fearing person as I am, who has now been killed, and I've buried him. And so the play investigates my feelings leading up to that event and afterwards.
Clearly, you're talking about your character.
Yes, not me.
Because when you said that, for a moment, I thought, did I miss this?
No,
Because,
no, my
Just for
character.
a second. I mean, you were so believing, I thought, uh-oh. Right.
No,
So I
my
just wanted to be clear to
character.
the audience out there that your
My
character.
character, but that's just
Wow.
my character. So there's all different, there's all different types of grief. There's all different types of ways that people leave this earth and leave the people behind to grieve for them. So so that's why the play is called Good Grief.
This is a must. I've recently had to bury my parents, and my mom passed away, and it was a shock because we found her, and she had fallen, and it wasn't so pretty. And then Dad got sick almost immediately after that, and I became the caretaker, and he just passed away last year. And then
I'm so sorry.
in between that, I think 2 months after my mom passed, which also was recent, my husband's dad passed, and then just last Thanksgiving,
Oh, y'all had a rough year, huh?
Oh yeah,
I'm
and
so
then
sorry.
just last Thanksgiving, it was my husband's mother. It's just they all were going one at the other, and people don't realize the level of anxiety that can bring onto a person. Because for me, I went from one to the next, and then the caretaker, and then the mom of 3 kids, and then trying to figure out a way to work. And my whole way of dealing with grief was to just push it aside.
Most people do.
But I think underneath, I was just always like
It's
this.
like a volcano waiting to erupt. That feeling, those emotions. It's literally. My mother lost her only brother toward the end of the year. Again, like your mom, he had fallen, and someone found him. So
And to get the call like that, you're like, what?
well,
You know.
we got the call that he was in the hospital, and by the time they got him to the hospital, he was brain dead. So so I think that for me, it makes me cry. It makes me feel like I want to cry talking about it. But for me, I feel like this play will help me process this grieving period for my family, because we haven't really, between the burial and the funeral and dealing with crazy relatives and all that, we haven't really had that opportunity to do that. And it kind of comes and goes in waves,
My heart is right there.
You know.
I have to tell you, with you, it really is. And and I think we owe it to each other. I'm not just saying me and you, but
yes.
all of us who've been through something, to just listen. And if we haven't, to just listen, because it takes something from you, and you really need your friends, family, just people around you to help get you through. That's a
Yes.
hard thing to go through.
Yes, it's very, very difficult. And then just switch gears on another note, on Monday, January 23rd, I'm guest starring on an episode of The Odd Couple starring Matthew Perry.
Oh, this is great. Oh,
with my good friend Yvette Nicole Brown, who most people know from Community and The Odd Couple. So.
Oh, this is great. Are we going to have a big party when you guys, do you do that? Do you have like a bunch of friends over? and all
Nah,
that?
I usually
No?
just kind of watch it with my mom.
Oh, that's so sweet. Bless you for having your mom around to watch for that. Because believe me, that's been a big empty space for me.
Trust
that I'm
me, it's
trying
been a
to fill it up.
process. It's been a
Yeah.
process, but we've finally gotten through. We've gotten through that hurdle, and now we're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. Oh, you were just a delight to have him. Would you come in again and just
Sure.
co-host with me? And,
Sure.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to say before we leave? I think we even went over a little bit, right? But that's okay.
Oh
we got plenty
no,
of time
we
today.
we hit all the stuff. I'm recurring on Superstore. I got The Odd Couple coming up on January 23rd. I'm on a web series called Beer Fest, which is on the CWC network. It'll be online.
I'm in love with web series. I just got to tell you. No, and I'll tell you why. Because it's like the Wild West out there with web series. People are just putting their stuff out there, and they're getting it made, and they're getting it done, and they don't need studio approval and all that stuff. And if it's a hit, it's going to happen.
Yep. Oh, and I'm a film critic, so I
For where?
I freelance for NPR. And I do some stuff here for
Right.
UBN for
Yes, you do.
on air with
So
Tony
this is-
Sweet.
yeah.
And
We love Tony.
And I'm a member of the African American Film Critics Association. So tomorrow I'm going to Sundance. So I'll be there for a few days for the
So
weekend.
you'll be at Sundance.
I'll be at Sundance.
and I'll
You'll be at the inauguration.
Okay, there's a way to end. Social media, how can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Curvy C.A. Renata. Curvy C.A. Renata, Twitter and Instagram.
Okay, got it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And thanks everybody for tuning in. Another really fun edition of What's Up with Kobylt and Friends. See you next week. I'm going to have a lot to talk about after the inauguration. Bye-bye.